So good morning, everyone, again. I copied this from the list of students. And then what we want is, the objective is I'm going to create an object, a vector in R containing your names. And then I'm going to create randomly a group, okay? So our exercises are quizzes. It will be around 3, all in all, group quizzes, and then some activities in class. We're going to have groups, and there will be different groups every time, so that there will be no chance for, or it will be minimized chance of freeloading. Okay, so we said that if we copy this to R, we will have to put quotes and comma between the names, because otherwise R will not read that, because characters in R has to be placed in quotes. So what we can do is concatenate this. We start with quotes, and then I give the name, and then another quote, and then end the comma, right? Control Enter. So now this can be a problem, the comma here. Okay. No, sorry, not because it's inside the quotation. All right, that's good. Okay, so I copy this down. Okay, so that will be the elements of the vector. As I was saying, there's another way to do this. Not the concatenation. Okay, so let me just copy this, Control C, and then let me remove the formula. Okay, so these are just plain text. Let me see, because sometimes I noticed that it does not work in Excel. So Control 1, I'm going to format this, custom format. Okay, did I save that? That's wala, no? Supposed to be here. Okay, anyway, so I can custom, and then I can do the type here. It will be slash, and then quotes. Okay, and then at. Notice, class, that there's now a quote here. Dito sa sample, kung nakikita nyo. And then I'm going to close this, slash, and then quotes. Okay, you can now see that Desmonte Stephen John is now under quotes, right? And then I'll just put the comma there. So it's slash quotes, and then at, which means I'm going to put quotes here inside this. The character here is represented by at here, and then I'm going to close the quotes. Okay, so this is the beginning slash quotes, and then the ending slash quotes there. And then I end it with a comma. So you can see here that the sample is correct. And then okay. All right, there you go. Diba? So tatanggalin ko na lang to dito. Okay, I'll just remove here the for this one. Okay. For this one, I have to remove the comma. Okay. That's okay. Just for the last one. Okay, so I can now copy this, Control C, and go to R, and then I'll now create this vector FINTSAR K31, Control V. Okay. Control Enter. All right, we now have this vector. Okay, I now have this vector. So FINTSAR, and it's a character vector. I want to change it into a FINTSAR underscore K31. So I'll change it into a data frame, data.frame, FINTSAR. All right. So I now have this. It's now a data, FINTSAR. Okay. It's now a data frame. Okay, and I'll just change maybe the column name. You see FINTSAR, or column names of FINTSAR. I'll call it student. Okay. So I print FINTSAR, right, student name, ano natin, ano? And then I'm going to create groups. So your 27, ang gagawin ko, yung groups natin will be from 1 to 9. 1 to 9, okay? And then, i-assign ko kayo ng groups dito. I'll not show that now. Next time na lang kasi mauubusan tayo ng oras. I just wanted to show you that I'll be creating a sample, no? I-assign ko dito yung groups 1 to 9. So random to, no? Para walang randomized talaga yung ano. All right? I just wanted to illustrate that. And then next meeting, I'm going to discuss with you the requirements for the quiz number 1. And usually I give you around 5 days to work on that as a group, and then you're going to also rate your group names kasi ayoko talaga ng freeloading. No? Okay, so let's go back to what we were discussing last time. Okay, let me start with, okay, what's this the file? Okay, may I know where we ended class last time?
Sir,
Yes.
hindi pa, I think we ended po dun sa may ANOVA na part because we didn't do yung compare mod 1 and mod 2.
Okay, sige. All right. So this is what we do. Well, let's start with, na-load ko na ba si wage? Wala pa. No? Okay, let me load yung wage. Okay, sorry kasi nung krinos ko to. Okay, let me just start here. All right, let me, about my tidyverse dito. Okay, let me load this. Let me load this apps. Okay, hindi ko pa pala na-load si Pacman. Anyway, naka namespace dito. Kaya maglo-load siya. Okay, and then let me, nasa multiple linear regression project. Okay, let me check if I have here a multiple linear regression. Dito ba yung file ko na ano? This is the advantage class, yan, wage CSV. So I can easily load it here. Okay. So dito na si wage, no? Yan. So my data wage is now here. Okay, so let's now continue our discussion, and let me, okay, let me go back to this one, no? Yung mod 2 natin, diba? Our mod 2 is, nawala yung mod 1 ko, no? Okay, so let me just summary. I'll just return mod 1. Mod 1 is just the LM of hourly wage, diba? Regressed on education, right? We started with this one, diba? Data is equal to wage. Okay, so ito yon, no? So, quick review class. So we have here our model 1. Yan, model 1 natin. The R squared, adjusted R squared is 16%, 16.32%, which means that our model is able to account for 16.32% of the variation of your dependent variable hourly wage. We already discussed the meaning of this. The intercept is not significant. However, we said that we still include it in the model. Education is significant at 0.001, okay? At 0.001 level of significance, okay? And then 0.54 here means that for every 1 year increase in education, there's a corresponding $0.54 increase in hourly wage ceteris paribus. And so this is the individual t-test. The null hypothesis here is beta 1 is equal to 0. So we reject that null hypothesis that beta 1, which is the slope for education, is equal to 0. There's strong statistical reason to believe that education is a value other than 0. So hindi 0 to, no? In fact, the average is 0.54. And then we looked at the residual standard error, the degrees of freedom. Where do we get that? Okay, kasi pag nag-ano tayo, ANOVA, analysis of variance, dalawang degree of freedom dyan. Degree of freedom 1 will refer to the intercept, no? Kasi we lose also degree of freedom when we estimate the intercept. And then also, degree of freedom 2 is n minus k minus 1, where k refers to your parameter, in this case, education. Kasi we also lose 1 degree of freedom because we also estimate education. All right, so degree of freedom 1 refers to the intercept, n minus k minus 1, where k refers to the number of predictors, which is 1, and then minus 1 refers there to the intercept. So I hope that's clear, class, no? Yung degree of freedom 2, which actually is just a review of what of your stat before. Degree of freedom 2 is equal to n. N is a number of observations minus k minus 1, where k referred to the number of parameters or predictors, which is just 1 education. 1 is to account for the intercept. Okay, so ito yung degree of freedom 2 natin. There are 526 observations minus 1 minus 1. So you have here 524. Now, kailangan natin tong degree of freedom na to in order to compute for the F statistics. No? We will not go into the computation of F stat. Hindi naman talaga stat subject. So ang importante sa atin itong p-value. Okay? So p-value is also, it's significant also at 3 stars actually to, di ba? Kasi significant at 0.001. This is a value that's less than 0.001. So ang null hypothesis natin dito is, this is the joint, no? Okay, this is the overall goodness of fit test. Beta null is equal to beta 1 is equal to 0. Yun ang null hypothesis natin dito. Dito naman sa coefficients natin, ang null hypothesis natin per. Okay, per parameter. Dito combine. Okay, so we reject this null hypothesis because of this p-value. Remember, when the p is low, when you say low 0.05, if it's less than 0.05, the null hypothesis must go. We reject this. Okay, there's strong statistical reason to believe that at least one of these parameters is not equal to 0. Okay, and it's consistent here, di ba? Okay, and we looked at this. Sabi natin we are okay, mas ano tayo dun sa mas particular tayo dun sa adjusted R squared compared to the multiple R squared, because the adjusted R squared takes into account the penalty that's given for adding more parameters. Kasi kung gusto lang natin mataas ang R squared, dagdagan natin ng 1,000 predictors, di ba? And when you add predictors, you will always come up with a higher R squared. Okay. However, ang tanong dun, does it really contribute to explaining your dependent variable? Does it really contribute, o baka negligible na yung ano niya, yung contribution niya in explaining your dependent variable? Because if it's negligible already, then what's the point of adding another predictor, di ba? Ang hinahabol natin yung parsimony. Bakit parsimonious dapat yung model natin? Yung parsimonious, guys, ibig sabihin ng kuripot. Okay, in the vernacular. Means kuripot, no? Kung kaya natin i-predict si hourly wage using fewer variables, then why not? Why use 100? Kasi pag nagre-research tayo, very very costly and timely, very time-consuming yung maraming predictors na ginagamit. So if it can explain the behavior of hourly wage using just 3 variables, why use 100 variables, di ba? So, yung parsimony papasok dyan. Kaya nga, importante sa atin ito yung adjusted R squared as compared to multiple R squared. Because as I said, multiple R squared will always keep on increasing every time we add a predictor. Okay? So a model with 100 variables will always have a higher R squared compared to a model with 3 variables. Okay, but as we said, ang importante dito yung parsimonious model. Okay? So let me pause for a while. Questions, class? Clear ba yun? Pa-comment naman kung clear so far yung mabilis na discussion natin dito. Because that's just a review, no? Okay, thank you. All right? Kasi gusto natin na makakover pa tayo ng... Now, sabi din natin, yung adjusted R squared na to, actually, mako-compute natin yan. Okay, so last time we did this. We computed for the sum of the squares of your total, which is, you're just comparing this is your actual Y minus the average. Ito yung base model natin. Sabi natin, we're not going to use any regressor. We're not going to use any independent variable. Just use the mean. No? And then, compare natin yung actual value ni Y minus the mean. That will be now your sum of the squares of your total. Ito na yung difference ng actual minus the base model natin, which is just using the mean, the average. Okay? So, ito yung total variation natin. And then, we will compare that with, what's this? SSR. Si SSR naman, ito yung kayang i-explain ng model natin. Take note, this is na Y hat. No? Ito na yung predicted model natin. The predicted model comes from yung model na generate natin using OLS. Okay? And then, i-compare natin siya sa average, yung Y bar. Okay, so, titingnan natin ano yung improvement ng model natin. Kaya ang tawag natin sa kanya, sum of the squares of your regression. So this is now the improvement in your model. So when you compare SST and your SSR, yung natitira, yung SS, in other books, they call it SSU, unexplained. Ito naman yung iba, ang tawag dito sa SSR, SSE, sum of the squares explained. So just be wary guys, pag nagbabasa kayo ng books, no, or references, tingnan nyo kung ano yung ginagamit nilang term. No? Kasi dito ang ginamit natin, SSE. Okay? SSE, which is the difference between your SST and SSR. All right? So the R squared is equal to SSR over SST, which is ilang yung variation yung total variation ang kayang i-explain ng regression model natin. Yun lang ibig sabihin. What variation okay, what percent of the total variation can be explained by our regression model? That's your R squared. And then we learned that yung adjusted R squared natin is, okay, is this formula, no? Okay, I won't anymore go back here, but you can do this, no? So ang ginawa natin ngayon, okay, wait, baka may question kayo dito. Okay, good. I hope I'm not going fast, no? Kasi review na lang naman to, no? Kaya gusto ko makakover pa tayo ng many more materials. All right. So, what we did now was to create another model. Nag-model 2 na tayo. No? Yung model 2 natin is, we're now going to use all the variables in our data set. So LM, hourly wage, regression, education, experience, tenure, race, gender, civil status, number of dependents, data is equal to wage. Okay, so we have here 4 predictors that are numeric, 3 predictors that are categorical. In fact, we learned how to convert yung mga categorical natin kung pwede naman siyang gawing factors, no? Okay, usually kasi ang gagamitin natin na predictors na categorical should be factors. Kasi bakit natin kunyari gagamitin yung isang character lang? Kunyari, zip code. zip code, unless you're using the zip code as a classifier, kunyari zip code ng certain town or certain city. Diba? Pero kung zip code lang as it is, what will be the sense of using that? Or address, okay, etc. Okay, so here we're now regressing hourly wage on all our parameters, okay? So we said that you can write this or you can use LM hourly wage tilde and then dot. The dot here means consider all the variables as far as wage, the data wage is concerned. Of course, hindi isasama si hourly wage. No? Kasi si hourly wage yung dependent variable natin. Okay, so let's run this. Yung pangalawa natin. So we now have this. No? Ito na yung ano natin. Ito na yung model natin. And we see here that adjusted R squared is increased. Kanina 16 lang. Ito 36 na. No? So ibig sabihin, in terms of R squared, this model is a lot better. Okay? Kasi 36% ng variation ng hourly wage kayang i-explain ng model natin. Yung 63% hindi niya kayang i-explain. Okay? And also you can see here that 518 degrees of freedom na lang ang nagagamit to compute for your F statistics. No? So saan nanggaling to? 7. Bakit 7 to? 7 degree of freedom 1. This is the number of your DF1. Sorry, kanina sabi ko intercept. No? DF1 is the number of predictors. Okay? So that's 7 kasi 7 yung predictors natin. And then DF2 is n minus k minus 1. K is equal to 7. Okay, 1 is to account for the intercept, which we're going to also compute for. So there's a loss in the degree of freedom kasi sinasama natin si intercept sa pag-compute. All right, so, and then the null hypothesis here is that beta null is equal to beta 1 is equal to beta 2, that is equal to beta 7, di ba? Okay, and we reject that null hypothesis. We're saying that there is a strong statistical reason to believe that at least one of them, at least one of the values ng beta null hanggang beta 7 is not equal to 0. And then we have here the individual tests. And we can see here that only four are significant. Okay, these 4 are significant at the 0.001 level of significance. Here, experience, it's not significant, no, at 0.05. However, it's significant at the 10% level of significance. Ito yun. Ito yung dot na to. Tapos 0.1. Okay, because 0.07 is less than 0.1. Pero kasi at the onset, dinidefine na natin level of significance natin. So if the level of significance that we're using is 5%, then rejected to, no? Rejected to experience. All right, then we learned how to interpret this. What's important here is the interpretation of categorical or factors. And we learned that yung factors natin, kino-convert yan into dummy variables. Okay? And how many dummy variables will be created? Very quick review, class. Ilang dummy variables ang create? Anyone, please? How many dummy variables are created? Hello, class. Hello? Hello? How many dummy variables are created? Kunyari, ito si race, dalawa siya. White at saka si non-white. Ilang dummy variables yun? Oops. 6. Okay, let me repeat my question. Si race, class. Saan na si wage natin? Flash ko muna si wage. O, dito. Summary. Structure muna. Convert na ba natin si wage? Alright. Character po si no? Si si race. Pero factor siya na dalawa, no? white at saka non-white. Okay, my question is, how many dummy variables? Kasi kung factor, hindi naman pwede yung text actually, no? So may ginagawa dyan, ginagawang dummy variables yan. Okay, Evan, how did you get 1?
K minus 1 po, sir.
Ano yung K?
Yung number of,
Levels,
unique,
no?
yes po, unique
Levels.
levels.
Okay? Yung levels, no? Yung levels is the number of different types of the factors. Kunyari, itong race, dalawa siya, white at saka si non-white. So ilang dummy variables ang i-introduce yan? Isa lang. Kaya nga nakita nyo po, isa lang, race white lang. Isa lang yan. Kasi, kunyari, year level siya, no? 4 kunyari, sophomore, frosh, sophomore, junior, senior. By default, ang gagawin ni R, gagawin niyang benchmark o reference variable yung alphabetically mauuna. So si frosh, anong ibig sabihin ng gagawin niyang benchmark yan? Gagawin niyang 0 yon. Okay? The rest will be ones. Si sophomore 1, si senior 1, si junior 1. Okay, so how many dummy variables will we find here? Class? For year level. Kunyari, 4 yung year levels. Ilang dummy variables ang i-introduce ni R? Okay, yes, correct. Thank you. 3, no? 3. Kasi 4 levels minus 1, so there will be 3 dummy variables. And you can see that when you do the regression. Makikita nyo, kunyari dito, year level siya, year level, sophomore. So, i-combine niya. Year level, junior. Year level, senior. Okay? So, wala dito si sa mga variables na i-generate niya, wala dun si frosh. Bakit? Frosh appears first alphabetically. So, it will be treated as the benchmark variable. So, yung lalabas dito sa regression output na variables, 3 lang. Why only 3? Why only 3? Isn't it that there are 4 levels? Because the formula is the number of levels minus 1. So, 3 lang. So, sa regression output class, makikita nyo, 3 yan. Year level, sophomore, year level, junior, year level, senior. Okay? And then every one of them is interpreted in reference to frosh. Okay? In reference to frosh. Just like this. No? Race white to, no? How do we interpret this point 1? Okay, let's just assume that this is significant, ha? O, ito na lang, gender male, no? Kasi significant siya. Si race kasi hindi significant, eh. What's the meaning of 1.76? Let me just drop the other to the 2 decimal places na lang. 1.76. Anong ibig sabihin niyan? Okay, so when we interpret that, we say on the average, okay, male respondents or male employees of this sample, okay, receive 1.76 more than their female counterparts, ceteris paribus. So notice I'm interpreting this related to the benchmark. Okay, so pag may factor tayo class, lahat ng interpretation yan, it's always in reference to your benchmark variable or reference variable. Okay, it's either blank more or blank less. Ito, civil status. Assuming it's significant, no? So, single to, di ba? Therefore, ang reference natin yung married. And obviously, kasi M siya, it will appear first. Okay? So, ang single employees receive $0.46 less. Okay, take note, less than their female counterparts. And why is that? Why is that class? Negative siya. Okay, and then this is benchmark to your reference variable. Then your married counterparts, ceteris paribus. Okay, so ganun yung interpretation na. So laging may ceteris paribus kasi ibig sabihin nun, you're treating the other variables as constant. You're not increasing them. Hindi mo sila ini-increase. Ang ini-increase mo lang itong tenure. Pag nag-increase ng 1 year sa tenure, hourly wage will increase by around $0.138 ceteris paribus. Ibig sabihin, the other variables remain the same. Okay. And lastly, how do we interpret this intercept? Ito yung tricky dito, no? Si intercept. Ano ibig sabihin nito? The intercept is the average value of your dependent variable hourly wage, okay, when all your predictors are zero. So ibig sabihin nito, the average hourly wage of a person without education, without experience, without tenure, okay, who is non-white, who is female, okay, who is married, all right, who has no dependents, is negative $3.39. Of course, we're not putting any quote unquote practical or physical interpretation to that. No? Okay. Tanong ko tanong kasi lalabas to sa exercise next week. What is now the average hourly wage of a person who has no education, who has no experience, who has no tenure, who is non-white, who is female, who is married, who has no dependents? Non-white siya, non-white. O, palitan ko na lang, sorry. Who is female pala. White siya, pero female, tapos, ano siya, tapos, sorry, ulitin ko non-white siya, okay? Non-white, na male, okay? Na married, na walang dependents. Let me repeat my question. What is the average hourly wage of a person with no education, no experience, no tenure, no number of dependents, who is non-white, who is married, and who is male? What will be the answer there, class? Anyone? Class? Okay, sige, ulitin natin My question is, what's the hourly wage, average hourly wage of a person without education, without experience, without tenure, without any number of dependents, who is non-white, who is married, and who is male? Male siya, non-white, married, no education, no experience, no tenure, no number of dependents. Answer, class? Answer is okay. Evan, where did you get negative 2.089?
Sir, I had negative 3.389 plus 1.759 because male po yung person. Then minus 0.46 because married.
Married siya.
Yes po.
Okay. Kung married siya, hindi papasok to, di ba? Kasi itong ano na to, di ba? Kung married siya, ano ibig sabihin nito, class? What's the meaning of negative 3.38? No education, zero education, zero experience, zero tenure, ba? Zero number of dependents. Tapos ano siya? Non-white. Tapos female siya.
Yes sir, tama.
Tapos married siya. So ang naiba lang ito. 'Di ba? The rest are the same pero sinabi ko male. So ang mangyayari dito, class, kasi male siya, papasok tong factor na. Yan. So it will be negative 3.39 and then plus itong 1.76. 1.76 plus negative 3.39. So whatever this is, sige, ano natin? Ito ko na lang ito, no? This one, Control C, Control V, and then we add okay, so that's the average hourly wage of a person with no education, no experience, no tenure, who is non-white, who is married, who has no dependents, who is female. No? Nadagdag to kasi gender male to. Kasama to. Pag female, 0 yan. Diba? Pag married, 0 din to. Pag non-white, di ba, 0 to. Pero pag white, so ang pag tinanong ko, white at saka male, so papasok tong dalawang to. Idadagdag pa natin tong 0.11. Okay? So, pause muna ako, class. Is that clear? Clear ba yung class? Mga tanong kong ganun, ha? Next, may exercise tayo next meeting, no? And by the way, may announcement because of the transport strike, online tayo next meeting next week. Okay, have you heard of that, class? Okay, sige. Thank you. All right, so punta na tayo dito, class, no? Let's discuss something new. Okay. So I hope you review this, yung yung SST, SSR, and SS, and also yung adjusted R squared. Binigay ko na naman yung formula sa inyo. So you should be able to do this. All right. Now, ang tanong kasi, sino mas okay? Si Model 1? Si Model 1, di ba yung education lang? O si Model 2? Now, we cannot just base it on the adjusted R squared, no? Kasi sometimes hindi basis yung adjusted R squared para sabihin na mas maganda. Definitely, in terms of adjusted R squared, mas maganda si Model 2. But we have to do some statistical test for that. We have to do an analysis of variance test. So sa analysis of variance, ang null hypothesis natin dyan, si restricted model is better than the unrestricted. Yung restricted, yung mas konti. Kasi ang tinetest natin dito, kailangan pa ba natin magdagdag ng predictors? Okay, which is the unrestricted. Okay, so ang test, restricted model or the one with the fewer predictors, which is model 1 in this case, is better than the unrestricted. And if we run this, okay, what do we see? Okay, si model 1 natin, yung restricted, ito lang. Model 2 is the unrestricted, and we can see here that the p-value is less than 0.001. It's significant at 0.001 level. Okay, so we say that we reject the null hypothesis that the restricted model is better. Okay? So mas maganda yung model 2 natin. Yung meron tayong 7 na predictors. Okay. Is this clear, class? Tong ANOVA na to? If you're testing between by the way, class, yung ANOVA natin, kailangan pareho tayong dependent variable ang ang kino-compare, no? Kunyari, hindi pa pwedeng nag-log tayo dito, log hourly wage, tapos yung isa hourly wage. Hindi pa pwede yun. We cannot do that because we're not comparing apples with apples. No? So dapat magkapareho talaga sila ng dependent variable. Okay, clear, class? Kindly chat, please. Okay, confirm kung clear yung discussion natin so far about yung ANOVA natin to decide whether a particular model is better than another model. Okay, ang condition dapat pareho dapat yung model natin, dependent variable. Okay? Now, kung magkakaiba yung predictors, okay lang yun. Okay lang yun. Okay, I stand correct. Qualify ko yun, ha? Kasi dapat may common sa kanila, no? May common dapat. Tapos yung isa, yung unrestricted, dapat mas kompleto, yung restricted na bawasan siya. Okay. All right. Okay, so Now, what happens next? Ito kasi yung model 2 natin. So, ang model ba natin, yung tatanggalin lang natin yung mga ano, yung mga insignificant? No. No. We will perform what we call a stepwise regression. Dalawang klaseng stepwise regression, actually. Meron tayong forward at saka backward. Okay, forward stepwise regression, ang ginagawa nun, you start with blank, no? So you introduce one variable at a time. Ito naman, yung backward naman, backward na stepwise regression, we start with the full model and then remove insignificant variables one at a time. Okay, ano yung basis natin? We look at the t-value. Ito yung magiging basis natin yung t. The lowest absolute value ng t, yun ang magiging leaving, L-E-A-V-I-N-G, yung aalisin natin. No? So, ang mga candidates natin dito, si experience, si race, si civil status, at saka si number of dependents. Sa stepwise regression, we only remove one at a time. Okay? So, stepwise, no? So, paano natin, ano yung tatanggalin natin dito? Ang leaving, yung aalis na variable, is the one with the lowest absolute t-value. Okay, so if you're going to compare, ito 1.78, ito 0.25, yung mga insignificant, ito 1.56, ito 1.345. Okay, notice I ignore the negative. Huh? I ignore the negative. Okay, sabi ni Evan, race. Okay, that's correct. No? Tama. Thank you, Evan. Race dapat. Bakit race? By virtue of having the lowest absolute t-value. In fact, siya yung pinakamataas na p-value. Yan. So 0.257. Therefore, this will be our leaving bar. So yung next na model natin will be, okay, copy natin yung model natin. Okay, this one. Okay, Control C. Alright, dito. Control Alt, Control V. And then we now create our model 3 natin. No? Tapos ang tatanggalin natin si race. So tanggal si race sa model natin. Okay? So this now becomes our model. Simple lang ha. Okay. So LM, hourly wage regression, education, experience, tenure, number of dependents. Tanggal na si race. Okay, wala na si race, no? So this leaves us now with 6. So, i-run natin to. Okay. So we now have another model. No? This is now model number 3. And the R squared, adjusted R squared, increased 3631. Okay. And then, ano nangyari? Intercept still significant, education still significant, tenure significant, gender significant, ang hindi significant si civil status at saka si number of dependents. Alright, nag-increase ba yung R squared? R squared increased kanina, di ba? R squared 3619, adjusted R squared ito 3631. Mas tumaas. Mas tumaas yung explanatory power nitong kahit na okay. Wait, take note ha. Si R squared, si multiple R squared ng original model natin 37.04. Okay, 7 yung predictors natin dito. Mas mataas yung multiple R squared niya kaysa dito na 6 lang. Kanina 37.04, ito 37.03. So proof that when you increase your predictors, tataas talaga yung multiple R squared natin. But not necessarily the adjusted R squared. Kasi si adjusted R squared, ipe-penalize natin yung model natin for adding more. predictors. Ito 36, 31. Kanina, ilan? A while ago, it was, where's our model here? Um, 3619, no? Adjusted the R-squared dito, 3619. Yung bagong model natin, adjusted R-squared, 3631. So tumaas. No? Even if we only had 6 predictors, the model went up. No? All right. Once again, ano yung interpretation nito? Intercept, negative 3.29. This is the hourly wage, average hourly wage of a person with no education, no experience, no tenure, who is female, who is married, who has no dependent. Number of dependents, wala. Yun ang interpretation niya. No? Ano ibig sabihin ng 0.57 na to? That for every 1 year increase in education, there's a corresponding 57 centavos increase in hourly wage ceteris paribus. Okay? Highly significant. No? Let's assume experience is significant. Assume na lang natin. For every 1 year increase in experience, there's a corresponding 2 centavos or $0.02 increase in hourly wage ceteris paribus. Tenure. For every 1 year increase in tenure, there's a corresponding $0.14 or 14 centavos increase in hourly wage ceteris paribus. No? Ito, 1.76. For male counterparts, on the average, receive $1.76 more than their female counterparts. Okay? All things being the same. Ganun din dito. Single respondents receive $0.46 less than their married counterparts. And then, assuming number of dependents is significant, for every one child increase, one dependent increase, there's a corresponding 14 centavos increase in hourly wage. All right. So this now leaves us with model number 3, and then there are still 2 insignificant variables. Okay, so sabi natin, stepwise regression, tatanggalin natin sino yung magiging leaving variable, class? Who will be the leaving variable? Okay, number of dependents, Jonas, Ivan, thank you. You're correct. Tama, no? Kasi, yan, lowest absolute t-value. All right, so tatanggalin natin si number of dependents. Okay, let's copy this. Let's copy now our model. Control C. Sa ilalim. Okay, I hope you're taking notes na kung sino yung leaving variable. Hindi ko na sinusulat. No? Control D. Dito lagyan natin. Generate. Model for by removing number dependents. Okay? So tatanggalin natin to number dependents by virtue of the fact that it has the lowest absolute value ng t-value. Okay, so let's call this model number 4. No? Tama ba? Model 3. Ay, wait. Nakalimutan ko kanina, no? Before we go to the next one, mag-ANOVA muna tayo dito. No? Compare natin. Let's compare model 2 and model 3. Kasi baka based on analysis of variance, baka mas okay na si model 2. No? Okay, baka mas okay si model 2. Yung mas maraming predictors. So bakit pa tayo pupunta ng model 4 kung when comparing model 2 and model 3, mas okay si model 2. So ANOVA tayo, ANOVA, model 2 and model 3. Actually kahit pagbalik ta rin yun, it doesn't matter. So let me put here model 3 and model 2. Doesn't matter. Ang default pa rin yan, model 1 and 2. Yan. Model 1. So si model 1 natin yung class. yung restricted model, di ba? Restricted model siya. Meron siyang race, no? And model 1 is the restricted model. In this case, no? Ito yung model 3 natin to, di ba? Model 3 is the one where we remove si race. Si model 2 natin is the one with race. So yung restricted natin si model 3. And so if we want model 3 to be our model, then dapat yung p-value natin dapat p-value natin should be positive, should be greater than 0.05. Sige nga, run natin to. All right. And we can see here that, okay, yan. Our p-value is 0.79. Okay, therefore, remember ano yung null hypothesis natin dito? Null. Restricted is better. Okay, so sino si restricted model? In our case, it's model 3. Diba? Si model 3 yung restricted kasi mas konti yung predictors. Okay, so anong conclusion natin dito? And p-value is greater than 0.05. Therefore, we fail to reject this null hypothesis. Hindi natin mare-reject yung null hypothesis na mas okay si restricted model, si model 3. Right? Take note yung importante dito yung intindihan natin kung ano yung null hypothesis natin. Okay? So between model 2 and model 3, sino yung restricted? Si model 3. Bakit? Kasi si model 3, binawasan natin ni race yan. Diba? Yun lang difference sila. Model 2 has race as its predictor. Model 3 does not have the race as its predictor. All right. So since this one, model 3 is better, okay, then we proceed, no? We proceed na since model 3 is better, so gagawin natin, tinignan natin si model 3, tapos tatanggalin natin yung number of dependents doon. Okay? So pag rinan natin to, there. Okay, what happened? Oops, yun nyo no? Ano nangyari? So, bumaba si adjusted R-squared, 36.21. Diba? Multiple R-squared, of course, will increase, 36.82. Okay? Pero, yung overall goodness of fit test natin, okay pa rin. And notice ngayon, meron tayong hindi significant dito sa experience. A while ago, sa model natin dito, si experience yung significant at 10%. Diba? Si model number, ano natin to, no? Ano model to? Model 3.
Hello, sir.
Yes?
May question na po, sir.
Yeah, sige.
About sa result po nung ANOVA.
Yeah.
Kasi sir, di ba we fail to reject the null hypothesis.
Yeah.
Does that mean po na model 2 is better than model 3?
Hindi. Basta tandaan yung hypothesis. Ang hypothesis natin, the restricted model is better. Okay? Ano yung restricted model natin?
Yung model 3, sir.
Model 3, di ba?
Yes
Kasi
po.
si model 3, yung mas konti na lang yung ito yung model 3 natin.
Yes po, sir.
Di ba? Wala nang race to, di ba?
Opo, wala po.
So since the p-value is greater than 0.05, di ba? Ang p-value natin dito
0.79 po.
0.7, di ba? Asan na yun? 0.7. So, ang conclusion natin, hindi natin ma-reject na si model 3 is better. We cannot reject that. So, model 3 is
Yes,
better.
sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Di ba? We fail to reject this. So, sino ngayon mas better? Si model 3 o model 2? Class? Which is now better? Model 3, yung walang race, yung mas konting variable, o model 2, yung mas maraming predictor? Sino mas maganda? Class?
Okay na, sir. Nagets ka na po.
Gets na, Evan?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, good, good. Thank you for that question. Kasi medyo nakakalito din talaga yan. No? Pero ang importante dito, i-understand kung ano yung model na 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 yung terminology natin sa mga models. No? Kaya yung iba ayaw yung gantong model 3, iba yung ginagamit nila. But for our purposes now, model 3 is the model, regression model that has less number of predictors.
Hello,
So
sir.
yes.
Additional na lang po.
Yeah,
Bali
go,
po
go.
dun sa nung nag-anova po tayo ng model 1 and 2 po.
Yeah.
Ibig sabihin po, model 1 is better.
Oo. Kanina,
Okay.
yung unang-una natin, medyo nakakalito, di ba? Kasi kanina yung
Ayan nga
model
po.
1 natin, no?
It's better than the model 2 po.
Yung model 1 natin, yung restricted, di ba? Right?
Gets. Kaya nalito.
Yung model
Okay
1
na, sir.
natin, yung restricted, iisa lang yung ano niya, predictor.
Opo.
Di ba? Si model 2 natin, maraming predictor siya. Di ba? So nung nag-ANOVA tayo, ang ano nito, the null hypothesis is model 1 is better kasi restricted siya. And then we arrive at a p-value per, di ba? Ang p-value natin is, saan na yung ANOVA natin dito? So baba yata.
Very, very small, sir.
Very small, di ba? So ano yung
Yes, sir.
conclusion natin?
Model-
Reject natin, no?
Yes po.
We reject the null hypothesis that
So model 2
1,
is better, sir.
model 2, which has
Yes.
more predictors, is better than model 1.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you, Evan, for that question. Okay, I hope klaro yun, ha? So, babalik lang talaga tayo dun sa ano. Let's be grounded and let's go back to our definition kung ano yung null hypothesis natin. Okay? So, very good question, Evan, kasi kanina, tinetest natin model 1 versus model 2. No? Si model 1, siya yung restricted natin kasi isa lang yung iisa lang yung predictor. Si model 2, yung unrestricted kasi 7 yung predictors niya. So when we did the ANOVA, ang lumalabas, p-value is less than 0.05. Therefore, we reject the null hypothesis na model 1 is better yung restricted model. No? Mas maganda si unrestricted in that case. No? Kung kino-compare natin si model 1 at saka si model 2. Mas maganda si model 2, yung mas maraming predictors. Now, dito naman sa susunod, okay, ang kino-compare natin si model 2 at saka si model 3. Ngayon, si model 2 ngayon, yung restricted natin. And then, si model 3 pala. Model 3 yung restricted kasi si model 3 yung binawasan natin. No? Diba? Si model 3 yung binawasan natin ng predictors. So, ang lumalabas dito sa p-value, 0.7971, okay, we fail to reject the null hypothesis that model 3 is better. Okay? Mas maganda si model 3. Yung mas konti yung predictors. Okay? Yung walang race. Diba? Okay? All right. I hope that's clear, class. No? So, and then moving forward, we now go to model number 4. Okay, kasi yung model 3 natin, ano nangyari? Meron pa tayong, sana si model 3 ko? Meron pa tayong mga insignificant variables. So, tatanggalin natin dito si number of dependents, no? Para kay model number, sana to? Model number 4. So, wala na si num dependents, no? So, when we run model 4, ano nangyari? Bumaba actually yung bumaba yung adjusted R-squared. Okay? Bumaba din yung of course, mas bababa yung multiple R-squared. Okay, kaso, okay, ang question ngayon, is this better or not? Well, mag-ANOVA ulit tayo. Check natin. Okay, kasi komot mas mababa yung adjusted R-squared, mas maganda na ba yung kabila? Si model number, model number 3. Okay, take note that model number 3 is the unrestricted. So this is mod 4 and mod 3. Okay, again, sulat natin para mas H not dito is restricted. Sino restricted natin? Si mod 4.
Mod 4 po.
Yes, is better, no? Than model 3. So, i-run natin. All right. Ano lumalabas? 0.184 yung p-value. Therefore, we fail to reject the null hypothesis that the unrestricted model 4 is better than model 3. Mas maganda si model 4. Okay, so the model without the number of dependents, okay, which is this one, okay, is better than the model with the number of dependents. Okay? So, and once again, if we take a look at this, wala nang dependents dito, no? Meron pa tayong insignificant, no? So, sino yung leading variable natin? Well, you know that the leading variable will be experience. Kasi ang t-value niya 1.558. Mas mababa kaysa dito kay civil status. Take note, yung absolute value lang, ha? Okay, hindi yung numerical. Okay? So, tatanggalin natin si experience. And let's create another model. Okay? Let's create this. Open natin to. Open ko na yung buo. Control C. Open ko na to. Control C. Bilis ang oras. Grabe. May mga gusto pa sana akong i-discuss eh. Control V. Alright. Generate. Hindi ko na-copy. Generate. Model 5. No? Model 5. By removing, sino tatanggalin natin? Si experience. Expert. Okay? So, tatanggalin ko si experience dito sa predictor natin. Delete to. Yan. So, ang natitira na lang, education, tenure, gender, civil status. Okay, let's run this. And then we have this. Oh, tingnan nyo. Lahat significant na. Okay? All our variables are now significant. And our adjusted R squared is lower. No? 36.32 kanina, 36.21 yata. Ito, 36.04. Okay? So does that mean that kahit mas mababa yung adjusted R squared dito, mas lesser yung capability niya to explain? Mas okay ba si model number model number 4, which has an R squared of adjusted R squared of 36.21%? Check ulit natin. Mag-ANOVA ulit tayo. No? Okay, we will rely on the analysis of Barnes test. ANOVA. Okay, mod 5 and mod 4. Again, what are we testing here? H0 natin is restricted model, which is mod 5, no? Is better. So if we run this, and then if we have a p-value that's more than 0.05, then we fail to reject this. Mas maganda si model 5. Run natin. All right. Oops, sorry. Ano nangyari? Ay, mali. Hala. Mali. Sorry, hindi ko napalitan tong ano. I-run ko ulit tong ano sorry I'm going to run model 4 again. Here. Napalitan yung model 4. Okay, andito si 1, 2, 3. So, run ko si model 4. Okay, so na-retain si model 4. Tapos, palitan nyo to Make sure to change it model number 5. Sorry, I forgot to change the name. Okay. All right. So what do we have now? Then i-run ko na to. Okay. 0.1198. Therefore, we fail to reject the null hypothesis that model 5 is better than model 4. So this tells us that this model, without experience, without the other variables, is better than the others. Of course, there's no need class to test comparing model 5 and model 3. No? Kasi mas maganda nga si model 4 kaysa kay model 3. Bakit mo pa i-compare si model 5 kay model 3, no? Okay? So this will be our final model, this one. Okay, so ang final model natin is ito. Ang equation natin, hourly wage is equal to negative 2.16381 plus 0.553 times education, plus 154 times tenure, plus 1.721 times gender, minus 0.68 times civil status. Okay? Ano ibig sabihin ng 0.53 na to? For every 1-year increase in education, there's a corresponding 53 centavos increase in hourly wage, ceteris paribus. Sa tenure, lahat ito significant na, no? For every 1-year increase in tenure, there's a corresponding 15 centavos increase in hourly wage, ceteris paribus. Ano ibig sabihin ng gender male? On the average, male respondents receive $1.71 more than their female counterparts, ceteris paribus. On the average, single participants, single respondents receive $0.68 less than their married counterparts, ceteris paribus. What's the meaning of this negative 2.16? On the average, no? On the average, people with no education, no tenure, na ano rin na non-white, kasi walang non-white dito, zero yun, di ba? Who are female, who are married, okay, receive $2.16 negative hourly wage. Okay, so those are the parameters. Now it's almost time. Our next meeting class. Okay, so let me just show this to you. Okay, papakita lang ako, no? Control Alt I. Now let's create a plot. So actually, pwede tayo makapag-plot, no? Tingnan natin plot ni Model 5. Okay, so plot natin si Model 5. Alright, then you will have this. Meron tayong magiging 5 plots. Yan. So we're now going into the diagnostics. Kasi we don't stop at generating the model. No? So yun na ba yung final model natin? Hindi. Tingnan natin kung may nababiolate sa assumptions ng classical linear regression model natin. Okay, tingnan nyo. So 4 na plot siya ng pinapakita. No? So this is a plot of your residuals versus fitted value. Okay, homoskedastic ba siya? Okay, if you can see here, parang habang lumalaki yung fitted values natin, lumalaki yung yung residuals. So may fanning out, di ba? Lumalaki, oh. So mukhang hindi siya mukhang hindi homoskedastic yung residuals natin. Ito pa. Ano to? Normal QQ plot. Mukhang may mga outliers dito sa higher values. Kasi dapat this will now test for the normality of your residuals. Normally distributed ba yung residuals natin? Okay, mukhang hindi kasi dapat malapit sa QQ plot itong dotted line na to, itong dash line na to. Dapat yung residuals natin, yung standardized residuals, dapat it should be close to this And then, tingnan nyo, diba? Tumataas dito. So this is indicative na hindi siya normally distributed. Tapos ito din, class, this is also a plot of heteroskedasticity. Ito yung model natin, fitted value versus the standardized square root of the standardized residuals. Mukhang may pattern talaga siya. And you can see here 3 numbers, ibig sabihin candidates for outliers to, mga outliers yan. And last, ito, class. So makikita din natin to, no? Leverage are very important. Kasi yung leverage, pag may mga leverage points tayo, ibig sabihin nun, ito yung mga points na nakaka-affect ng value ng mga parameters natin, yung coefficients natin. Kung may leverage class, kung may mga leverage points, it means that malaki yung effect niya dun sa mga predictors natin. Yung sa value, ito mga ito, yung sa estimates natin. So dapat babantayan natin yung leverage niyan. Okay, to generate just one, generate natin yung isang lang. Control Alt I. We will now have here. I-partition natin. No? So the code is para lang tingnan nyo ito plot mod 5. Ito. We run this together. Kasi kanina, di ba, naka-separate yung mga plots. If you want to partition it in such a way that 2 by 2 lalabas siya, 2 rows and 2 columns, i-run natin to. Okay, then you can now see all the plots in one. Ayan. In one lang siya, hindi yung iisa-isa natin. So sa isang plot, makikita natin siya dito. Okay? All right. So this is now diagnostics, no? And then we will go to this in greater detail next time. Pero bago tayo pumunta dito sa diagnostics, pupunta muna tayo sa pakitingnan class yung isang package ang tawag OLSRR. Okay, because yung OLSRR, yung ginawa natin na one step at a time, yung stepwise regression natin, di ba? may living variable tayo, isa-isa. Paano kung maraming ano yan? Kunyari we have 20 regressors, di ba? Tapos iisa-isahin natin hanggang lahat maging significant na. That can be very long. Enter OLSRR. Okay? Ito class, isang code lang, and then siya na mismo sa stepwise. Ibibigyan na niya sa atin yung final na model. Okay, so we'll look at this next meeting. All right? Okay, any questions, class? Any questions? Okay, next meeting, may ano tayo, may 30-minute na thank you. I hope you learned something today. 30-minute na ano tayo na activity, as in seat work, graded seat work.